As far as I can remember, I have always had a fascination with Mount Rushmore. I remember as a child lying on the floor in the living room, dog-earing the pages in the Encyclopedia and National Geographics about anything I could find about Rushmore. I'd read about it and look at images over and over and daydream, what would I do if I had a chance to go visit? I would think about the people who made it, how it was made, how come it doesn't fall, whose idea was this, how long did it take? Would I be able to touch the faces? Every summer I would beg my parents to go, but we never had a chance to make it there on vacation. As I grew older, I was still fascinated with Mount Rushmore, and I told myself one day I'm going to go visit. When I was in college, I took a sculpture class, and I was surprised when I walked into class one day and the professor had a lecture on Mount Rushmore. I remember leaving that class that day with a grin ear to ear. It was like the fire was lit again. I remember being even more interested than before. Over the next couple of days, I was regurgitating all the facts that I learned and sharing with my friends. Did you know there are nearly 3 million visitors a year to Mount Rushmore? It took 14 years and 400 men to carve the mountain. Mount Rushmore cost nearly $1 million to build and was mostly carved during the Great Depression. Over 90% of Mount Rushmore was carved using dynamite. Details were finished with jackhammers and hand chisels. The faces of Mount Rushmore are 60 feet high. That's the same size as a 6-story building. Washington's nose is approximately 21 feet long. The rest of the faces have noses that measure about 20 feet. The eyes of each president are 11 feet wide, and their mouths are approximately 18 feet wide. Thomas Jefferson's face was originally on the opposite side of George Washington, but 18 months into the project it was dynamited off due to weak granite and carved on the other side. Sculptor Gutzon Borglum and U.S. Senator Peter Norbeck were responsible for making the dream of Mount Rushmore come true. To get funding, they invited President Coolidge to come to Custer State Park for a vacation. To keep the president in the state, workers stocked the stream outside his room every night with thousands of trout. The president found the fishing so good he decided to extend his stay for 2 months, just long enough to convince him to fund the carving of Mount Rushmore. The men who carved Mount Rushmore were mostly miners who had come to the Black Hills in search of gold. They knew little about carving a mountain, let alone creating a giant work of art. While the money was considered good, it was only $8 a day. While in college, I still never had the chance to visit Mount Rushmore, but I knew one day I would. In 2013, I got married. When my husband and I were planning our honeymoon, I asked him, could we go to Mount Rushmore? I remember the look he gave me. It was kind of cross-eyed, and he said, really? Most honeymooners want to go to a beach. Then I told him my story and any facts that I could think of off the top of my head. He said yes. Let's make it a road trip. We got married and left on the road trip to the Black Hills of South Dakota. On our way to South Dakota, we went through Oklahoma, Kansas, Colorado, and Wyoming. Each day my excitement was growing. When we finally made it to South Dakota, I had to wait a couple of days to see Mount Rushmore, but there were some fun sights to see: the caverns, the National Museum of Wood Carving, Crazy Horse, and Custer State Park. The day finally came, June 27th, and we set out for Mount Rushmore. I remember my husband driving up the mountain, and as the road was winding, he would often hear glees of excitement from me. We finally made it to the parking lot. I do recall being a little impatient, maybe rushing my husband a bit, running off like a child, but I was excited. The moment I had been waiting for so long finally happened. We were standing at the entry of Mount Rushmore. It was amazing. We spent the entire day at the memorial. We ate, relaxed, walked around, took pictures, watched the sunset and the nightly ceremony. I made sure to get my certificate of attendance, plus a few more mementos. My certificate now hangs in my classroom. I always enjoy when my students ask me about it. June 27, 2013 will be a memory that I will never let go of. It was everything that I ever dreamt of, and the best part was that I got to share it with my wonderful husband.